Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant verses 12 to 16 of chapter 1. Tasya sanjanayan harsham,
Tasya sanjanayan harsham,
Kuru vriddha pitamaha,
Kuru vriddha pitamaha,
Simhanadam vinadhyochaihi,
Simhanadam vinadhyochaihi,
Shankham dadmau pratapavan,
Shankham dadmau pratapavan,
Tatah shankascha bheryascha,
Tatah shankascha bheryascha,
Panavanaka gomukha,
Panavanaka gomukha,
Sahasaivabhyahanyanta,
Sahasaivabhyahanyanta,
Sashabdastu mulo bhavat,
Sashabdastu mulo bhavat,
Tata shvetairhayairyukte,
Tatah shvetairhayairyukte,
Mahati syandane sthitau,
Mahati syandane stitau,
Madhava pandavaschaiva,
Madhava pandavaschaiva,
Divyau shankhau pradhadmatuhu,
Divyau shankhau pradhatmatuhu,
Panchajanyam hrishikeshaha,
Panchajanyam hrishikeshaha,
Devadattam dhananjayaha,
Devadattam dhananjayaha,
Paundram dadmau mahashankham,
Paundram dadmau mahashankam,
Bhimakarma vrikodaraha,
Bhimakarma vrikodaraha,
Ananta vijayam raja,
Ananta vijayam raja,
Kunti putro yudhishthiraha,
Kunti putro yudhishthiraha,
Nakulah sahadevascha,
Nakulah sahadevascha,
Sugoshamani pushpakau.
Sugoshamani pushpakau.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week we were seeing verse number 15, where he talks of Lord Krishna taking up his conch and blowing. Now this is very, very significant from a sadhana point of view, because as I have repeatedly told you, the Mahabharata war represents the inner war between the good forces, the Pandavas within you, and the bad forces, the Kauravas within you. Now, from where do the Pandavas get their strength? That is the key. Because in this inner battle, what will ensure that you will be successful? You have to absorb this principle. Even though the Pandavas were such great people, each of them had tremendous talents and so many things, yet basically they all surrendered to Lord Krishna. So even though Krishna was playing the role of a mere charioteer there, but he was a person who took the conch and led the Pandava camp. So this is so significant. When you want to conquer yourself, when you want to build your inner strength, if you surrender to that infinite power within you, because Krishna represents that infinite power. So when you surrender to that infinite formless reality within you, that becomes your source of strength. See, whenever you want to eke out strength, the source is very important. According to the source, the cause, the effect will also have the same quality. Supposing you make an ornament from a metal like gold that will last for a long period of time. If you make an ornament from some other metal which can get rusted, let's say iron, it will lose its beauty. So according to what the source is, the effect or what you eke out from that will also be. So if your source of strength is from anything outside, now everything in the world is temporary. It's finite. So your strength also will be finite. If your strength is dependent upon others coming and praising you, for example, name and fame, or if your strength is dependent upon external wealth, it could be any aspect of the world. So what you need to understand is all these aspects of the world are temporary. They have a beginning and end. So when your strength is dependent on those factors, it will be finite, it will be very limited. Whereas if you surrender to that supreme power within you, that supreme power is infinite, Ananta. Ananta means endless, infinite. Then your inner strength will also become infinite. Because we are on this topic of building inner strength, develop inner strength and take charge of your life. That is the topic. So the bottom line is getting to the source of the strength, getting to the infinite source. So it's very symbolic when Lord Krishna picks up his conch and blows it for the Pandavas. He leads the way. And all the Pandavas then follow Krishna. There is no ego whatsoever. So Hrishikesha blew Panchajanya and Dhananjaya blew Devadatta. This is what we saw last week. So the first thing which you need to establish in your life is your spiritual growth, the spirituality within you, by surrendering to that infinite source. It is only through regular sadhana that you get connected with the infinite source, infinite power within you. And the more you are connected with that infinite power, the more strength you will have. Any other source of strength is temporary, and therefore it will have an inherent insecurity. See, when you get something and you know you're going to lose it someday, deep within you, there will be that insecurity. That is why people who acquire a lot in the world, I'm not saying it's wrong, but when they acquire, they find a strange thing happening to them. That is, the more they acquire from the world, no doubt they get a temporary kind of a euphoria, a nice feeling. But in the long run, they feel more and more insecure. That is why Shakespeare said, "Uneasy is the head that wears the crown." Beautiful statement, Uneasy is the head that wears the crown. So in the scriptures, they are not saying don't acquire from the world. They are only saying don't base your inner strength on any aspect of the world. Your inner strength should be based on the infinite power within you, the divinity within you. And the more you get connected to your own divine nature, you will find a lot of strength gushing forth from within. The hallmark of any yogi, of any spiritual person, is that infinite power, infinite strength which he has, which stems from his connection with the divine. And when you go to a master, that is what a master teaches. What does a master want? Nothing. His only aim is to help you get connected with the infinite within you. Just as a plant which is in the initial stages, the plant may require external strength, external support. But as the plant grows into a tree, then it no longer needs that support. It gets the capacity to give support and shade to anybody who comes and sits under it. Similarly, in the initial stages, you require all the support. That's why you go to an external guru. But the real aim is for you to become like a banyan tree where you give shade to everyone. Again, be very, very careful here, because the moment this example is given of become like a banyan tree, give shade to others, the ego will be waiting. It will say, yes, you have now spiritually grown, so start giving shade to others, and so the ego will be waiting to trade on your the tapas which you do. So be careful, be very, very humble. So that is why Rishikesha blew Panchajanya, and then he said Dhananjaya blew Devadatta. Devadatta, I told you, God given, means that humility. So the first thing is establishing the spiritual aspect in you. How do you do that? He says Rishikesha, means gain mastery over yourself. It is not the amount of books which you study that matters. I have finished the Bhagavad Gita, I have finished this Upanishad, I have finished this text, that text. Many people say that. What is the use of all that? Ultimately, is your own mind under your control? Your body, your breath, your pranas, your emotions, your thoughts, everything should be under your control. You should be a master of yourself. That is Rishikesha. So till then, you should not leave your sadhana. There is a big difference between getting external knowledge and doing sadhana. Sadhana, spiritual practice. So the more sadhana you do, you will awaken the Hrishikesha within you. You will actually become a Hrishikesha, the master of your senses. And when we say senses, we mean master of the entire personality. So that is the first thing. And then Panchajanyam, awakening, aligning all the 5 aspects of your personality. All the aspects, the actions, the speech, the breath, the emotions, the thoughts. And if you see the 5 bodies, the physical body, the pranic body, the emotional body, the wisdom body, and the bliss body. So everything is aligned and fully alive. This is something which you need to practice. Every experience which you go through, be fully in that. So that is awakening the spiritual aspect within you with respect to inner strength. And then the worldly aspect. The balancing between spiritual aspect and the worldly aspects is very, very important. That is one thing which most people neglect. They start the sadhana with a very good motive, but what I find is that many sadhaks, they slip because they just focus only on one aspect, either the spiritual aspect or the worldly aspect. Of course, when you focus only on the worldly aspect, you're not getting into any sadhana at all. But those are the 2 extremes which people go into. So the theme of the Bhagavad Gita, the theme of all the scriptures, is for you to balance the material aspect and the spiritual aspect within you. So you require to balance that, because if you focus only on the spiritual aspect and you neglect the worldly aspects, then you will not be able to fulfill your duties in life and exhaust your karmas. You have taken this birth, you've taken this particular form, this body, you've reincarnated in this birth to complete all your experiences, to fulfill all your duties and obligations, and become one with the infinite. So becoming one with the infinite is the spiritual aspect. Fulfilling all your obligations, duties, and completing your experiences in the world is the worldly aspect. So both should go hand in hand. So if you neglect your duties, and then if you try and sit and meditate, all those unfinished things will come and keep bothering your mind. It will not allow you to concentrate. So that is why he is covering the Pandavas. So what do the Pandavas represent? So as I told you, these verses have so many messages. Out of that I am just picking up one or two from each of these aspects, and I am giving you which are related with the topic of developing inner strength within you. So the first worldly aspect which you should practice, which you should establish within yourself, is Dhananjaya, becoming a Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means acquirer of wealth. How did he acquire wealth, Arjuna? By his own skill. So never complain that my destiny is not good. My parents didn't have not kept a lot of wealth for me. All that is not important. What is important is your skills. You should earn by your own honest efforts. In the yogic culture, we always say this: never ever take something which does not belong to you. When we go to the 3rd chapter, he'll be saying you should never eat without producing, without contributing. Eating, he means in a poetic, symbolic way. You should never take without contributing. So put in your hard work, your efforts in life. Locate your skill. Each one of you will be good at one or two things. Identify them. Identify your unique talent. And then it's a lifelong process. Go on improving your skill, your talents. It is not enough if you just merely locate your talent, but you should go on working on your skill to try and achieve as much as possible that state of perfection in that skill. And the beauty is, you go and talk to any achiever, he or she will tell you, in any field, he or she will tell you that in spite of putting so much of effort to master, I have not yet mastered that art. So that's why I said it's a lifelong process. So we generally stop our education or stop our efforts after schooling or university. No. So your skill, your whatever you're good at, your talents, they represent your swadharma. Swadharma means one's own nature. So you need to identify that and put in your heart and soul in that, and you will become successful. And you acquire wealth, because with wealth you can fulfill all your obligations in life. But remember, it should be out through your honest efforts, not by manipulating, not by cheating others. In spirituality, if you go to the Shastras, if you see the messages of the masters, nowhere are they against earning wealth. They actually consider wealth as Lakshmi, Dhana Lakshmi, they say. They only say that you should acquire wealth through righteous means. Don't use unrighteous means to acquire wealth. Don't manipulate others. Don't take shortcuts. Don't cheat. Instead, put in your honest efforts. Depend on your own skill to become a Dhananjaya. This is the first aspect. And then we saw Devadatta, the conch. So Devadatta means God-given. In spite of acquiring so much of wealth, in spite of having so much of skill, Devadatta means God-given. Arjuna considered all that as God-given. He never arrogated everything to himself and developed an ego over it. Rather, he was very, very humble. So as you develop your skills, as you acquire a lot of things, you should also be extremely humble. Humility gives you so much of inner strength. When you are arrogant, actually it does not give you any strength. It is only a weak person who will be arrogant. Even in the Ramayana, they have, they have actually told the story of Hanuman. And if you see, Hanuman's strength is humility. Krishna himself was very, very humble. Many instances are there in his life where he was extremely humble. The fact that he took the role of a charioteer, which other warriors will hesitate, because they'll say, I am a Kshatriya, I am a great warrior, how can I be a charioteer? But Krishna didn't hesitate because he had absolutely no ego. So you should also become very humble. That is Devadatta. Now we will go to the rest of the Pandavas. There is a beautiful sequence which is present here, and if you map that sequence, you will get a lot of inputs related to the inner strength. So what is the sequence? First thing is Dhananjaya and Devadatta. Then in verse number 15, he says, Vrikodaraha means wolf-bellied, another name of Bhima. So what did he do? Bhima karma, fearful deeds. He blew the great conch Poundram. Poundra was the name of his conch. Mahashankam. Mahashankam means huge conch, great conch. That's a poetic way of putting it, because Bhima was known for his physical valor and strength. He was well built and he had so much of power, so much of physical strength. So everything about Bhima is always big, So Bhima took up the conch means the conch is also big, he says. So it's a transferred epithet in English language. The quality of Bhima is transferring it to the conch. So very interesting. Now instead of using the name Bhima, he uses the word Vrikodara. There are a lot of things there, but as I told you, I am picking up that aspect which will be relevant to the topic. So Vrikaha means wolf. Udaraha means belly. So Vrika Udaraha, Vrikodara means wolf-bellied. Bhima had this quality. He used to eat a lot. That is how it is described. The quantity of his food was quite a bit. Actually, in the Mahabharata it is mentioned that when they were in hiding, that is not during this 12 years, but much before, when the Kauravas had made the Pandavas stay in a house of wax and they had burnt the house. So the Pandavas escaped and for a while they were living incognito. At that time, it is said that whatever food was collected every day, it was divided into two halves. One half Bhima used to eat, the other half, the other four brothers and Mother Kunti, they used to share. Very interesting. But with all that, he was called Vrikodara. If you the wolf-bellied. If you see the waist of a wolf, it is very slim. So without understanding that, in the many serials and movies and all, when they portray Bhima, they always portray a person who is very fat and with a big paunch and all that. No, he was Vrikodara, wolf-bellied. His waist was slim. He was muscular. His strength was muscular. Later on, he took lessons from Lord Hanuman, and he also learned the art of awakening his pranas. He developed tremendous prana shakti also. So even though he had a lot of food, he was looking slim and muscular. Why? Because he had the capacity to digest any kind of food. That is what is described in the Mahabharata. Any amount of food, any kind of food you give him, he was able to relish, eat it and digest it. So this is very symbolic. The sadhana tip which we get is food represents your experiences in life. So the capacity to digest food represents the capacity to digest any experience which you face in life. You know, Lord Ganesha, he has also been portrayed with this quality. He had the capacity to eat a lot and digest everything. It's Lord Ganesha actually, if you take his description, it is a description of a spiritually developed person. Each aspect is symbolic, whether we talk of the elephant head or whether we talk of the udara, the belly, everything. So when they say he is able to eat a lot and digest, the philosophical message is that as you grow spiritually, you should get that capacity, that strength to digest any experience in life. So how did Bhima get that capacity to digest all the experiences in life? He gives a clue. He says, Bhima karma, fearful deeds. Bhima had that courage. Everybody was afraid of him, the negative people. It is said that in the Mahabharata war, when he took the mace and when he walked, he literally looked like the god of death. He didn't require even a chariot and all that. Those were only secondary. He relied on his own strength. He had tremendous self-confidence. He took an oath that I will kill all the 100 brothers, 100 Kauravas, and he fulfilled that oath. So much of courage, so much of self-confidence he had. So that is the tip. When you develop tremendous self-confidence and courage within you, then you get the ability to face any experience in life, any challenge in life. This is the second quality which is required from the worldly point of view. The first was Dhananjaya, locate your skills and develop your skills. The second quality is developing tremendous courage and self-confidence to be able to face any challenge in life. You know, life is full of challenges, ups and downs. Okay, right now, we are talking of a pandemic, corona, lockdowns, and this is an issue. But once this gets over, something else will come. Before this, some other issue was there. Some area of your life will always pose challenges. It may be financial challenge, it may be work challenge, it may be relationship challenge. Some challenge will always be there. You may lose anything in life, it is okay. But if you lose your confidence, then you lost everything. So in the path of yoga, what we do is we keep our confidence intact. Because it is only through self-confidence that you can create whatever you want in life. So how do you build your self-confidence? You go back to the previous quality, Dhananjaya. When you develop your skills, automatically you will start becoming more confident about yourself. You will never ever say, I am useless, I am worthless. That feeling itself will not be there. Each one of you, you have something to contribute. Contribute to this world. And you should do that. You should play your part. Never consider yourself as low. Humility does not mean considering yourself as low, as useless. That's why immediately after Devadatta, he talks of Vrikodara, who, that Bhima Karma, that fearful deeds he performed, terrible deeds. He had so much of courage and ruthlessness when he was dealing with negative people, negativity. So you should also develop tremendous ruthlessness when you deal with your own ego and egocentric qualities. Duryodhana and the brothers represent the ego and the egocentric qualities. When you handle your negativities within you, be ruthless. When you face life, be courageous. So that courage should stem from your hard work, the identification of your unique skills and talents and developing those skills. Your confidence should not be dependent on others' comments on you, about you. Today, why people are not truly confident is because they are so much bothered about what others think about them. Bhima never cared. He did not care two hoots what others thought about him. He developed tremendous power from within. And in his life, he killed many powerful negative people who were powerful, like Bakasura, who was a demon. Then he killed Jarasandha, who was considered invincible. He killed Kichaka. He was a great fighter, but a negative person, unrighteous person. So when Bhima confronted them, there was a fight and he was victorious in every fight. How did he get so much of power? It is because of his confidence and self-belief. He had so much of self-belief that imagine he took the oath, single-handedly I will kill all the Kaurava brothers. And many a times he used to tell Yudhishthira, don't worry, I will win the war for you. So much of confidence he had. So this is very, very relevant, especially during the present times when this COVID situation is there. I'm finding that many people are slowly losing their self-confidence. So my request to you is, kindly work on this. Challenges are going to be there. And if you face them squarely, it is a question of time. Even this shall pass away. Whenever you get challenges in life, don't lose your heart, don't lose your courage. Stand up and face those challenges squarely. In the Upanishads they say, the truth is not for weak people. It is meant for strong people. So as you develop your skills and you are very humble, you should develop this other quality, which is courage. That feeling of fearlessness. Every little thing we fear, As a great thinker said, death comes only once. So you should die only once in life. You should not die every day out of fear. Even whatever the norms which they are asking us to follow, you should not do it out of fear. Incidentally, whenever you fear, your immune system actually comes down. You lose your physical strength, the capacity to fight diseases, fight the viruses, bacteria, all that reduces. How was it that Bhima was so powerful physically? He was extremely healthy because of this quality. He was so courageous. So that is Vrikodara Bhima Karma. You have to read that together, So Vrikodara means wolf-bellied, one who has the ability to digest any experience which is thrown to him or her in life. How did he get that? Bhima Karma, by having that quality of courage, self-confidence. Self-confidence is a very important spiritual quality. A yogi is always brimming with self-confidence. So if your confidence is dependent again on the world outside, you will lose your confidence. It's a question of time. As long as you have that, you will be confident. But the moment that goes away, again you will fall down. No, become self-reliant. Rely on nobody else except your own self. And when you go to a master, he will slowly make you self-reliant. So, Vrikodara Bhima Karma. Read them together. You get the message for inner strength, to develop inner strength. The more confident you are, the more courageous you are, it will build tremendous inner strength. Your whole life will be under your control. The less confident you are about yourself, your whole life will slip away from your hands. You will feel others are controlling you. Never ever complain that this person did this to me, that person is rude to me, this is happening. No, you are allowing that person to be rude to you. There was one lady who has sent a query, and what she has said is, in all my life, my husband has been very, very rude to me. It's constantly putting me down, and I've lost all my confidence. My message to her is this only. Why do you have to allow your husband to be rude to you? You should learn to speak for yourself. I'm not saying you should fight, but that you should never lose your self-esteem. Because when you lose your self-esteem over a period of time, that you will develop many kinds of aches and pains in your body. You will either get knee problems, or you may get some back issues. I'm not saying that is the only cause for knee or problems or back issues, but practically we have observed that people who lack self-confidence, they are more prone towards these kind of physical issues also. It's psychosomatic, So remember, your life is in your hands. Don't put it in the hands of others, and then you go on complaining. So, Vrikodaraha Bhima Karma, the first aspect. Then what did he blow? The conch, Poundra. The name of his conch was Poundra. So what is the meaning of Poundra? Poundra means sugarcane. It is actually referring to a species of sugarcane. Now what was interesting was, Bhima, he was a highly emotional person. See, he had tremendous physical strength and he had courage also. But when it came to emotions, he was hot-headed. He was actually he didn't have too much control over his emotions. That is how they have described Bhima when he started off his life. But later, when he met Krishna, slowly, Krishna taught him how to become emotionally stable. So the word Poundra is derived from the word Pundra. Pundra is the derivative. The Poundra is a derivative of Pundra. Pundra, that refers to a kind of a flower which is called the bleeding heart. If you see, it exactly resembles the heart which bleeds. So it's symbolic. Pundra represents the bleeding heart. In other words, the weak emotions. So after meeting Krishna and taking his guidance, from a Pundra he became a Poundra. Means the weak emotions, he converted them into pillars of strength. That is what is Poundra, sugarcane. Sugarcane is very sweet inside, but it's very, very hard and tough outside. That's how the sugarcane is made. Even to get the juice out of sugarcane, you need some powerful that machine, and you put the sugarcane inside and you crush it, then only you can get the juice. So hard the sugarcane is. But within it, what does it contain? Sweet juice. Similarly, you should have very, very wonderful emotions, sweet emotions. But you should not be emotionally weak. Your emotions should always be under your control. That is what is the meaning of Poundra. So on one hand, Bhima had a lot of courage, that fearlessness was there. On the other hand, he had such sweet emotions, but the emotional control was something which he lacked initially, and then he learnt from Lord Krishna. The more your emotions are under your control, the more strength you will have, the inner strength. When your emotions go haywire, you will lose your inner strength. So it is through sadhana that you can build positive emotions and then get them under your control. So it is not enough if you're a good person. If you merely have good emotions, that is not enough. You should also be a tough person, tough in the sense, tough to face any challenge in life. This question is constantly asked. Why is it that good people suffer under bad people, wicked people? The reason is this: they may be good, but they are not tough. Whereas a person who is bad, if he is tough, then he gains control over the good people. So in spirituality, if you take somebody like Lord Krishna, his emotions were like gold. He always thought of the welfare of the world, but at the same time, when he took decisions, he never allowed his emotions to cloud his decision making. He was very, very tough and clear about what he had to do in life. So, Vrikodara, Bhima Karma, and then Poundra. He blew the Poundra. This is the next sadhana which you need to practice. Install the worldly quality of courage to face any challenge in life, and then gain emotional control. Whenever your emotion goes out of control, whether it is negative or positive, it can harm you. There is an incident which I remember, because you may ask me, sir, negative emotion I can understand, but what about positive emotion? I remember an incident which I read in the newspapers. long back, I'm talking about 30 years back, there was a person who won a lottery. Those days the lotteries were there, and he won some 1 crore or something at that time. And he was a very poor person. So his wife saw the result and he had won 1 crore. So she ran to him and said, "You have won 1 crore. And the moment he heard that, he became so overjoyed that he had a heart attack. He was taken to the hospital. Imagine, it's a very good news, great emotion, but when that went out of his control, he had a heart attack. So, one is to develop good emotions, that is the sweetness of the poundra, but the other, the sugarcane, but the other is the control which you should have over your own emotions. That is the hardness of the sugarcane. So have wonderful emotions, but never allow the emotions to come in the way of your decision making in life. If you take decisions emotionally, invariably you will make a mistake, because your emotions can take you anywhere they want. You will have to pause, judge, and then act. So this is the meaning of Vrikodaraha blowing his big conch poundra, the great conch poundra, he says. So Hrishikesha blew Panchajanya, Dhananjaya blew Devadatta, Vrikodaraha blew poundra. So now we'll do verse number 16. Ananta Vijayam Raja,
Ananta Vijayam Raja,
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha,
Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha,
Nakulah Sahadevascha,
Nakulah Sahadevascha,
Sughoshamani Pushpakau,
Sughoshamani Pushpakau,
Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha. So Kunti Putraha means a son of Kunti. Now he is referring to the eldest brother, the eldest Pandava, King Yudhishthiraha, Raja Yudhishthiraha. What did he blow? Ananta Vijaya. The name of his conch was Ananta Vijaya. Ananta Vijaya means infinitely victorious, ever victorious, always victorious. So Yudhishthira blew Ananta Vijaya. Then Nakulaha and Sahadeva, the last two brothers of the Pandavas, what did they blow? Sughosha Mani Pushpaka. So Nakula's conch was Sughosha and Sahadeva's conch was Mani Pushpaka. So this has to be read in continuation of verse number 15, because I told you we are going to map the flow of thought. So first I'll explain the individual messages. One message we'll take up relevant to the topic and which will be very useful for your sadhana, and then we will also relate it to the previous qualities which we saw, so that you will get a complete picture. So first of all, he says Raja Yudhishthiraha, he blew Ananta Vijaya. So the name again which he uses is Yudhishthira. He had other names also like Dharmaraja and all that, but here he uses the word, the name Yudhishthira, specific, for a specific purpose. Yudhishthira means being steady in war, Yuddhasya sthirah, one who was steady in yuddha. Yuddha means war. So he was one who was always steady in fighting. That's what he says. That's a literal meaning. Now, if you were to analyze the meaning of this word, you will get totally confused if you just analyze it superficially. Because, in the Mahabharata, if there was one person who never wanted a war, that was Yudhishthira. If you read his character, he was always peace-loving, even though he was a Kshatriya. But his first choice was always peace only. He was never for war. Others had to convince him, coax him, and say, no, we are being denied what is due to us. So at least for that you need to fight. Yet he was called Yudhishthira, one who was steady in war, steady in fights. So there is a deeper meaning. If you see Yudhishthira's character right from young age, he had one tremendous quality, and that was he always tried to perfect himself. His focus was always on self-purification. So when the name is Yudhishthira, steady in war, he is not referring to the outside war. He is referring to the inner war. He was always steady in the process of self-purification, self-betterment and developing himself. He was always steady in facing that inner war. This is how Yudhishthira's whole life was. In his entire life, it's not that he didn't make mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes, but he went on learning from those mistakes. The difference between Yudhishthira and Duryodhana, one of the key differences, Duryodhana also made mistakes, but he never learned from those mistakes. He went on repeating the same mistakes with more vigor. Whereas Yudhishthira, the more mistakes he made, he learned something from that and he became a better person. So that is the next quality which you need to develop. Constantly try to improve yourself. Don't be shy of making mistakes. It is only through mistakes you can learn. That is why, when one lady had asked me whether she could put some points which she absorbs from these lectures every Sunday, that question she had asked last week or week before last, I had read that also. She had asked whether I can put it in the comment section. Yogishri, can you go through it? I said definitely. So what will be the block there? The block will be, supposing I make a mistake, now what will happen? Nothing will happen. You will only grow. If you make a mistake and when that is pointed out and if you take it positively, you can grow. That is Yudhishthira, always striving for perfection. Be very, very steady in this inner war of self-purification. Later on, Lord Krishna says, you should keep self-realization as your goal, but that is your ultimate goal. As a relative goal, first goal, you should have a goal as Atma Shuddhi, means self-purification, purifying yourself, self-development. So that is Yudhishthira. And why was his conch called Ananta Vijaya? Very, very significant. The name of the conch is Ananta Vijaya, means eternally winning. So, see, when your focus is only on learning from every experience, thereafter, it does not matter whether that experience is of success or failure. You will learn equally from both experiences. That way you will always be a winner. Success teaches you something in life. Failure also teaches you something in life. I'm not saying you should look for failures, but when both these kind of experiences come to you, see, the moment we talk of victory, there is also a possibility of defeat. But Yudhishthira, he says the conch which he blew, the way he expressed himself, was Ananta Vijaya, always victorious. So how can a person always be victorious? Is it practically possible? No, because life is full of ups and downs. At one point of time you may get something, at another point of time you may lose it. You may not get something which you want. That's how life is. But in both these experiences, if your focus is on learning and developing yourself, then you have the conch of Ananta Vijaya. You are always victorious. You know, the famous scientist Edison, who invented the electric bulb in his 1000th attempt. And when they asked him, my God, you wasted 999 attempts. Straight away, if you had discovered the 1000th attempt, how wonderful it would have been. He said, no, it would have been terrible. Because these 999 so-called failures, as you are calling, they taught me so much. They taught me what all I should not do. Whereas this 1000th attempt taught me only one thing, what has to be done. Very, very beautiful statement. That should be your spirit. So I always say, be a Nitya Shishya, eternal learner. It is not only with respect to spirituality. It is not that only when you go to a guru you should learn. There also people are so egoistic. Even when they go to a guru, they try to teach the guru instead of learning. But it is not restricted there. In your entire life, from your experiences, as I said during the Guru Purnima, the Guru Tattva should be awakened. For Yudhishthira, the Guru Tattva was very highly awakened. So in every experience of life, you should go on learning. Every day, you should become a better person. What have I learned today? Every night when you go to sleep, just ask yourself, today is one more day which I have spent. What is it that I have learned? So that is Yudhishthira and Ananta Vijaya. So first we saw Dhananjaya's skills, humility, the Devadatta. Then we saw Vrikodaraha, tremendous confidence, that courage, fearlessness. And the Poundra also we saw, emotional stability. Now, when you develop skills, your fearlessness, confidence will grow. But when your confidence grows, there is a good chance that you may go to the other extreme of becoming overconfident. That is why the next thing is put is Yudhishthira. No, even as you grow in confidence, remember, your focus should not be on developing your ego. You should not develop an ego over that. You should not develop overconfidence. Rather, you should always try to perfect yourself. Be steady in this inner war of self-purification. Then you are ever victorious. Whatever it is that you face in life, it does not matter. Try to make those experiences as successful as possible. But whether it is success or failure, you are always a winner. You are always victorious because you end up learning some wonderful lessons from them. So Bhagavad Gita should not be studied merely in the text, as a text. These lectures should not be heard only here. After this, when you go out and practice this in your life will strengthen your wisdom. When you apply these principles in life, you will learn so much, and those things will make you immensely mature, spiritually mature. So remember, you should never be the same person next day. You should go on improving till you reach that supreme state of self-realization. So Yudhishthiraha Ananta Vijayaha. Then Nakula and Sahadeva. We will see that. Nakula, he blew the conch Sughosha. And Sahadeva blew the conch Mani Pushpaka. So Nakula was the most handsome of the five Pandavas. He represents beauty. So the next quality which you need to develop is Nakula. You have to awaken the Nakula within you. So what do we mean by beauty here? Nakula was so handsome. It's not merely the looks alone. He was extremely graceful in life. Everything which he did it with so much of grace. There was a beauty about everything which he did. He used to take care of the horses. And he was a past master in that. People used to stop and watch him. As the famous saying is there, handsome is that handsome does. It is not merely in your looks, but it is in the quality of your actions that determine whether you are handsome or beautiful. So Nakula was very, very presentable all the time, so presentable. He was a very pleasant personality, sweet personality. We'll be coming to that Sughosha is also enhancing the same quality only. So one hand, Nakula represents that grace, that beauty, presentability. On the other hand, he is blowing the conch Sughosha. Why is it called Sughosha? Ghosha means a coarse sound, harsh sound. Sughosha means the harsh sound which has been made sweet, good. Su means good. So Sughosha means that harsh sound which has been made good. So what is the sound which he's talking of? Your expressions, your speech, the way you speak, the way you act, the way you basically express yourself. If it is very harsh, then there is no beauty there. You are not a spiritually evolved person. As you grow spiritually, your expressions will become very, very refined, That is the meaning of Sughosha. So on one hand, he is very graceful, presentable. Presentability is a quality which you should learn. Because it's not enough if you merely have skills. You should know how to present your skills to others if you want to be successful in the world. Even the great sage Thiruvalluvar, he talks about this. He says it's not enough if you have knowledge. If you're able to, unless and until you're able to communicate it to others, what is the use of that knowledge? It's the same principle only. So you have a lot of skill, you have tremendous courage, all that is there, but you don't know how to present them. Then you will not be effective in life. So when we talk of beauty in spirituality, we are not talking of looks as such, but we are talking about the presentability. How neat are you? In one of the chapter, there is a 12th chapter and the 13th chapter. There is 20 qualities of a bhakta and 35 qualities of a bhakta and 20 qualities of a jnani. When Krishna gives that, in both of them, he has this quality, shuchihi. In one place he uses the word shaucham, the other place he uses the word shuchihi. Both mean cleanliness, neatness. So you should develop that. Spirituality starts off by becoming more neat. How do you keep your desk? How do you keep your PC? The home screen. Most of the people, when you open their PC, the home screen is like Is it a mess? That shows the condition of your mind. So learn to be well organized in life. Because when you become organized outside, it is not merely outside. That is something which that is a quality which you are developing inside you. Your mind is getting trained. Be very neat in whatever you're doing. Presentability is so important. The dress which you wear, the how you present your work, everything matters. These are the finer tips, which will give you success in life. But if you merely have this presentability, but if you have no skill and all that, if you have no stuff within, then that will not last for long. That is why Nakula, when we see Sahadeva also, we'll be seeing today, they come in the end. So first is you need to develop skill, hard work, then you should have courage, all those things. Then Yudhishthira, never develop overconfidence, learn from every experience of life. All these things should be there. And then this quality is very, very relevant. Presentability, neatness, shuchihi, shaucham. And then sugosha means refinement in speech, being very, very courteous, Today I find that quality is going away. Sughosha means making the coarse, harsh sound very good and sweet. So the kind of words which you use, you should learn if you want to become a yogi, become very polite. Show courtesy to others, respect others. Give others the same respect and feeling of importance which you want others to give you. So you want everybody to give you the feeling of importance, right? How wonderful you feel. Why don't you give others the same feeling of importance? The ego will prevent you. The ego will force you to be harsh. Now you will have to fight that tendency. That is the meaning of Sughosha. So the real beauty or attractiveness of a personality is through sweetness and politeness, starting from the speech first, any form of expression. When a spiritual master comes, when a spiritually advanced person comes, everybody will like him so much. Why? Because he has an ingrained politeness. He treats everyone with so much of respect, and he gives that feeling of importance to everyone because he truly considers everyone as important. Don't use this as a sales technique. That will not work. Become very, very genuine. Everyone is unique and important in life. Never put them down. Never put them too much up also. Both are ego only. Give them whatever is due to them. And give yourself also what is due to you. Not that you respect everybody and you lack self-respect. That is why we covered that when I covered Bhima, that self-confidence and self-respect is very important. But that same respect you should give to others also. So, Nakula, blue, Sughosha. Whatever it is that you do it with sincerity. Try to do it beautifully, gracefully from this moment onwards. Don't do things casually. Complete all your actions. Supposing you get a letter and you want to open it, don't just tear it and tear the envelope. No. Take a scissors or an envelope opener. Open it. Let there be a neatness about everything which you do. Whether you make your bed or whatever it is. Especially in spirituality, you need to be very careful And during this lockdown period, many people, they stop, many men, they stop taking care of themselves, the hygiene part. They just, grow beards without maintaining it. I know many people who do that in the name of spirituality. They think, growing big beards means, no, you're becoming a yogi. Please don't have such misconceptions. Some yogis may have had beards for their own reasons known to them. That doesn't mean now if you imitate them immediately, you will also become spiritual. They didn't, the great yogis may have been so focused on the research which they were doing. So they didn't focus on all this. It was not out of tamas or laziness. So if you copy that, then you will only become lazy in life. So Nakula blowing Sugosha will, if you practice that sadhana, it will add so much of value to your life. And then Sahadeva blew Mani Pushpaka. So Sahadeva and Nakula we can read together. They were twins actually, twin brothers. So Sahadeva means being close to God. Deva means God, with God. Sahadeva means with God. Sahasradeva, Sahadeva. Sahasradeva means 1,000 gods. He was equivalent to 1,000 gods, he says. Now, what does it mean? Sahadeva, the youngest Pandava, he had two wonderful qualities. He had many qualities. That's, as I told you, I'm only picking up those which are relevant to inner strength. One was, he had this power of intuition. That subtle perception, the ability to read the past, present and future. That was something which Sahadeva had developed. On the other hand, he also had this immense power of analysis. His analytical skills, his reasoning skills were really very powerful. If many a times it is said in the Mahabharata that it was Sahadeva who used to counsel Yudhishthira. If Yudhishthira had any issue and he required a strategy, he used to call Sahadeva and ask him, can you tell me the right solution? And Sahadeva used to analyze and give him a wonderful strategy. So much of worldly wisdom Sahadeva had. So that is something which you need to develop. That is the balance between analysis and intuition. In life, you generally find people focus on only one aspect. Either they will be very good in analysis, but then they will take it to one extreme where they have to feel and understand certain things you cannot analyze. For example, you cannot analyze love. You cannot analyze devotion. You cannot analyze emotions. You will have to feel them. But there they will bring analysis and they will destroy the emotion also. Certain things intuitively you need to do, that will give you success. In certain places, intuition alone will not be enough. You need to analyze, pause, judge, clearly see what is the cause, what is the effect, and then only act. So both these qualities you need to develop. Intuition means that deeper perception, Like a classic example of intuition is when India won the World Cup in cricket under Dhoni's captaincy. If you watch that match, some other batsman was padded up to go, but suddenly Dhoni had the intuition that he had to pad up and go. So he went to the coach and said, I feel I should go next if a wicket falls. And the coach said, are you sure? He said, yes. That intuition says I have to go. We'll win this. And the coach immediately understood what Dhoni felt. He said, fine, go ahead with your decision. And he went. And he stayed till the end and the winning stroke, winning six. he hit and lifted the cup for India. So later on, when Dhoni was asked, what made you take the decision? Why did you suddenly come in when that was not your turn? He said, I just had that intuition. He didn't know to express, he didn't use the word intuition, but he said, I just felt that, I perceived that this is the right time for me to go, it will help the team. So if you find that achievers, true achievers, they will have this balance between intuition and analysis. They will analyze where it's required, but they will never get into over-analysis. They will also use the power of intuition. Many a time, all of you have this power. Many a times deep within you, you know there is something wrong in what you're doing. But you don't heed, you don't pay heed to that intuitive power which is trying to tell you. You still do it, and later on you find, oh, what I felt came true. Haven't you experienced that? So if you want to become successful, if you want to build that inner strength, you should have a combination of intuition and analysis. Why this analytical power is also important is sometimes in the name of intuition, you may become impulsive also. So you should be careful. You can't say, I just feel it, so I am doing. Impulsiveness is not intuition. Intuition is very deep perception which you develop, through your personal sadhana. All of you, when you do your sadhana on a daily basis, slowly, you will develop the deep perception in life. And you will be able to, without, in many cases, you will be able to straight away discriminate without even going through the process of analysis. That is called intuition. And wherever it's required, you will be able to use your analytical skills and, think logically and come to a firm conclusion. To develop both these aspects. And he blew the conch called Mani Pushpaka. Mani Pushpaka is very interesting. Mani means jewel. Pushpaka is a kind of snake, So Mani Pushpaka means a jewel which a kind of snake has. So there is a story behind it. The story is that, it's called Nagamani. That is, they say that when a snake, when it lives for 100 years and it does not throw out its poison for 100 years, then that poison becomes a stone, a jewel stone called Nagamani, which is what is referring to money, and that has tremendous healing properties. That it's a divine jewel. This is the story which is given. Now let's not get into the story is this is true or not. The message what we get for our sadhana is what we are concerned about. So the poison, whatever poison you have, the negativities, what does a snake do? It bites, whenever the snake bites another creature, it lets out the poison into the other person. So instead of doing that, if a snake is able to withhold the poison, which is the most difficult thing to do. So he's talking of the principle, the practice of ahimsa, non-violence. So when you acquire so much in life, when you acquire your skills, when you become courageous, when you become graceful, all the things are there. But all these powers you can use to harm others. If you do that, then all your powers will go away. It's a question of time. Instead, you have to practice, this is very important, you have to practice the ahimsa. Sahadeva had a lot of self-healing not only self-healing, he used to heal others also. He had tremendous healing capacity. He was a great healer. How did he develop this healing capacity? It is by practicing ahimsa, non-violence. That is a necessary foundation if you want to increase your healing powers. So it is very symbolic. Sahadeva killed Shakuni in the battle. Shakuni also, he also had a lot of analytical powers, right? If you read the story. But he used all those analytical powers to destroy others for negative purposes. So Sahadeva killing Shakuni in the battle is very symbolic. Shakuni represents that aggressive badness in you, where you use your analytical powers to destroy others. Now Sahadeva killed Shakuni means the sadhana which you need to practice is use all your powers for the welfare of others. Ahimsa. Himsa means violence. Ahimsa means non-violence. Always think about doing good to others. So in spite of having so much of intuition, so much of worldly wisdom, tremendous healing powers, he was equivalent to Sahasradeva, 1,000 gods, all that. What was his expression? He always used these powers only for helping others. Ahimsa, he practiced that ahimsa. It is only through that practice he gained these powers, and further to that, these powers he used for the benefit of everyone. So Nakula is grace, Sahadeva is intuition, the balance between intuition and analysis. The Sughosha is refinement in your expressions, and Mani Pushpaka is the practice of ahimsa, non-violence, the always thinking about the welfare of others. So if you practice these, it will give you tremendous strength. See, we think the strength of a snake is in letting out the poison. But this, you may say, sir, this is an imaginary snake. It comes in the Puranas. Let it be imaginary also for argument's sake. I really don't know. It may be true also. But let us, for argument's sake, let us take it as imaginary. Still, there is a very powerful message there. That is, the strength, what they are trying to say is it acquires tremendous strength by not letting out the poison, but by withholding it, sublimating it. So you acquire tremendous strength when you practice ahimsa. It's easy to be violent. To get angry and become violent is so easy. What strength do you need? Anybody, any Tom, Dick and Harry can do that. But to be poised, to be controlled and practice this ahimsa, non-violence, and thinking of the welfare of others, that is not so easy. That requires enormous strength. So the 5 Pandavas and Krishna, the spiritual aspect and the worldly aspects, create that balance. That's what we have seen in verses 15 and 16. So the entire series of how to develop the inner strength, we started off with following your conscience, and then what are all the factors which do not allow you to follow your conscience. That verse, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, to explain what each one represents within you. So all that you practice. And then the chariot, the magnificent chariot, take care of your body by doing your regular exercises, eating nutritious food, develop that inner resistance. It's very important. And so it should not be only because of whenever COVID comes, I'll improve my resistance. It's not that. Throughout itself. And then in verses 15 and 16, establishing the spiritual aspect within you and then establishing the worldly aspect. So the spiritual aspect, Rishikesha, becoming master of oneself and aligning all the entire personality in one line. the worldly aspects, develop your skills, become very, very humble, Arjuna. Develop tremendous courage, fearlessness, and emotional stability, that is Bhima. Always try to perfect yourself, learn from every experience. You will be an eternal winner. This is Yudhishthira. And everything which you do, do it gracefully. Be very neat and presentable in life. And be very, very refined in your speech and all your expressions. That is Nakula within you. And Sahadeva, develop that balance between intuition and analysis. And always use your powers for the benefit of one and all. Practice ahimsa. Ahimsa should be not merely at the action level, emotion level, and at the thought level also. That is true ahimsa. Okay? So, if you practice all this, it is a question of time. You will develop tremendous inner strength within you, and you will take charge of your life. So with this we complete this inner strength series. These entire, I think about, I never realized about 13 sessions or something have gone by, 13 or 14, 12 to 14 sessions. So all of them will be available for your for you in YouTube. If you go to the Infinite Wings channel, they've created the playlist. So under the heading in Develop Inner Strength, these videos will be available for you. So anytime you want, you can always refer to these videos. This is like a gold mine for you, A lot of messages have been packed and they have been given to you. So see them whenever you get time, again and again, apart from this, and absorb those principles and start practicing them. So we have that 10-day healing course is also there. That is also available online for you. And you have this inner strength. So make use of them to make your lives wonderful. Okay? So now we'll have a meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I'm going deeper and deeper into myself. I am going deep into myself. Beyond this body, beyond this breath, beyond these various emotions and thoughts, lies my essential nature, that supreme self, the infinite power within me. I derive my strength from that infinite power, that divine power within me. I choose to develop inner strength and take charge of my life completely. From this moment onwards, I choose not to complain about anything. I choose to continuously develop my inner strength and create a life which I want to live. The source of my strength is that infinite power within me. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Open and close your palms a few times. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, your cheeks, forehead, top of the head, the back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today we had a powerful session where I have given you a lot of points actually. Actually, this entire series itself is a very powerful series. So having attended the series once, now since it's going to be available for you in YouTube, as I mentioned, you can always get back to something which inspired you to enhance the absorption of this wisdom. So remember, your inner strength is what is going to help you in your life. You may be very qualified technically and all this, but when a challenge comes in front of you, how strong are you? That is the question. So that is why I had spent a lot of sessions on the series. Next week we'll have a question and answer session. So if you have any questions, you can send them. Already I have received a lot of questions. I'll be taking them. So don't send the questions closer to Sunday, next Sunday. Send them by today itself or tomorrow, so that you also have that discipline. Sometimes just before going for a lecture, earlier it has happened, somebody sends a question and that is kept on the desk. When I see, they also put the time when it has been sent, just 5 minutes before the lecture. So you can plan out earlier so that you think well before you ask a question, So we'll have a question answer session next week, and we'll have a powerful meditation and healing session also. And then after that, we'll be restarting our regular Bhagavad Gita discourses, which is from chapter 2, Sthita Prajna portion. We were somewhere in the middle of it, so that we'll be continuing after that. Okay, so thank you. We'll see next week.